YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So this is part 2 of the Meghan and Harry Oprah interview. I've got a long night tonight, haven't I? But yeah, so I'm gonna go on with part 2. So Harry comes on and he basically said that he got frustrated with the firm because he felt as though they was not addressing the very racial colonial type of statements that were being released into the tabloids regarding Meghan. They talked about the contrast between when Kate was pregnant and when she clutched her bump, and when Meghan was pregnant and when she clutched her bump, and the disparity in treatment. And they criticised the royal family for not addressing the UK press. And then he almost said that the palace themselves, senior royals, are actually afraid of the press in the UK because they do not want to get bad press, because if they get bad press then they won't be liked and it's not good for the institution. So the institution is very much always on a defensive back foot against the British press. So they kind of dance to the theme tune of the press and they all are under attack. This is basically what he implied, which was an interesting insight, which is something that we never ever would have found out if they hadn't have done this Oprah interview. So I thought that was quite insightful. Is it true? I don't know. Harry also said that when him and Meghan went on their South Pacific Australian tour, he felt as though his family, and I think he was hinting at Kate, got jealous of how amazing Meghan was doing as a royal. Now, we know that on this tour, they went to Australia, Fiji, and Tonga, I think. And on this tour, apparently, one of Meghan's head PAs was dressed down by Meghan and basically verbally assaulted by Meghan for being too overly protective of her in the public space during their public engagements. But what Harry has said was that Meghan done so well on the tour and her light shone so brightly on the tour that he almost insinuated that other senior royals back at the palace, he didn't say names, were extremely jealous of how well Meghan had done and how she had flourished, and then they begun to make their lives even harder, which I don't believe it, to be honest, because it just seemed as though they was just looking for things and they was clutching at straws, to be honest, to come off as the victims. So another thing that Harry said was that he would have never stepped back from being a senior royal if it wasn't for Meghan, which was quite insightful. He also said he wouldn't have been able to leave the firm without Meghan because he effectively was trapped in the firm, and he said that they're all trapped in the firm, they're all victims in the firm. And he actually said directly his brother and his father are trapped. They're trapped by their duties, they're trapped in the institution, and they can't get out. He didn't say trapped exactly by what, because it's been well documented in history that a lot of royals have abdicated their position to the throne and gone on to lead private lives, you know, somewhat successful lives. So I don't know how true that is, but he basically said that he was a victim of being royal by blood, and he said that he's fortunate enough to have had the savings and investments from his mother's inheritance in order to be able to start a new life in America. He also said that he has absolutely no money coming in from the duchy and no money coming in from Charles, which I don't know how true it is, but this is what he's gone on record saying. Considering his dad is no longer talking to him, maybe he doesn't, I don't know, but maybe they done a major cash grab before they left, hence Meghan was spending all of that money and possibly acquiring, you know, diamonds and jewels on business cards from the firm in order to make this great escape, because we know that she continued to blog with Meghan's Mirror. If you haven't seen it, go and definitely check it out. And that's how they made their great escape. Now, apparently, Diana's estate awarded each of her sons £20 million each. So if that is to be the case, how could they have afforded that £11.4 million mansion in Montecito and be able to do all of the extravagant things that they have done thus far? I'm sure that the decorating and the furnishing of the property wouldn't have been cheap. But then, you know, they've also signed these, you know, Spotify and Netflix deals. So that should sustain them, even though they haven't really done any work. Meghan's pregnant again. She doesn't do any work. How is a couple that functions on such a high level, such a high net worth, able to afford security, a mansion with all those overheads, cars, staff, you name it, on £8 million? They must be running out of money. It must be coming to an end soon, because the fact of the matter is that it's not a lot of money for a celebrity couple on that level, especially if they're paying for their own security, and the security needs residence. They need somewhere to live. The staff need residence. The nanny needs I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. I really don't. So basically what Harry summarized was that he's being cut off from his family completely, and the only person of the royal firm that they're maintaining a connection with is the Queen, and they've done numerous Zoom calls with her. Harry also said there's been a lot of hurt that's happened, and it's been a very painful separation from the royal firm. Meghan concluded the interview by saying, "We're not just surviving, we're thriving, we're living a fantastic life." But they've left so many loose ends unanswered that it's hard to believe 100% what they have said. So another thing that Harry said in response to Oprah, who asked a very leading question, which was interesting, she said, "What would your response be to those who say that you're just two money-grabbing runaway royals that have come to the United States of America to cash in on your royal status?" Which is exactly what everyone really thinks, even out in the USA. He said, well, he doesn't really have a lot to say about that. I mean, he can't really elaborate. He's got a beautiful house. He's got two lovely dogs that are happy. And basically he said, "I am a money grabber. I'm just a money grabbing royal and I'm living it up." So yeah, they would be right. That's basically what he said, which was quite hilarious, because it's kind of like, Harry, you're meant to be saying, you know, something a bit more, you know, refined, something a bit more understated, but he didn't. He basically said, yeah, you know, it's fantastic. I'm living an amazing life. Okay, Harry. He also said that long before they announced publicly that they will be doing this interview with Oprah, and that they did notify the firm that they was going to do this interview with Oprah. Apparently they are losing everything, so by the end of March they will not be Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and that is that. He also said that William is still not talking to him, so he has definitely fractured his relationship with his brother, which is really sad. I find it confusing that Harry has made all of these choices to be with this actress who didn't really have many roles in Hollywood, or any roles in Hollywood. It's just so weird that he would be doing this with his life, which is effectively chucking it down the tubes. And then Meghan basically said that, you know, Harry was on some kind of rescue mission and that he saved her life. She was on the verge of knocking herself out, taking herself out, checking into the first mental health institution that she could find. But because the royal firm confiscates your passports and your credit cards and all of your identity, your birth certificate. She couldn't run away. She was trapped effectively. She didn't have her own money. She didn't have a passport. She couldn't get away. And she was on the verge of, you know, extreme self-harm and throwing herself off of a bridge. But Harry saved her life. He saved her life. He brought her back from the ashes. And she also said that she gave up everything. You know, she was a free, independent woman, which she was. You know, she was an independent woman. She did have a life in Canada. It wasn't as shiny and as fantastic as what she wanted it to be, because we know that Meghan wanted to go to Hollywood. And her character was more than likely going to be getting written out of Suits. So she needed to find a new paycheck. She basically just became a victim in the firm. And Harry saved her life from all of that. And baby Archie's life. Baby Archie's life was at risk too. They confirmed that the baby is a girl. Summer baby, I hazard a guess, the baby's probably going to be around Meghan's birthday. So the baby's due in August, I think, which would make it a sun sign Leo. Who knows? It's a summer baby, and that's it. So they described their experience in the firm as really awful, really terrible. And they basically called the royal family racist, and they have reinforced that the British tabloids are racist and that Britain is, you know, a toxic racist place, which I find hard to believe. I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. It wasn't exactly a secret that Harry was marrying someone of biracial descent, marrying someone of colour, marrying someone of black blood. That wasn't a secret. So why would people be talking about the colour of his skin when Meghan Markle has spent her whole life running around calling herself white A and slapping loads and loads of fake tan on herself? I mean, Meghan Markle's skin is as white as snow without that fake tan. Especially her ankles. If you see any pictures of Meghan's ankles when she forgets to put on that fake tan, they are pale as anything. So I don't know, maybe it was all about if they have some kind of like genetic throwback, but it was very unlikely. Doria is hardly a dark skin black woman. She's lighter complexioned than myself. And Meghan Markle is hardly a dark-skinned biracial woman. She's extremely pale. She passed as white in Hollywood for an extremely long time. So it's just ridiculous. I just don't believe it. And the fact that they didn't want to substantiate who exactly said it, but they kind of insinuated that it came from William and Kate's camp, which I thought was quite spiteful. But, you know, Meghan and Harry, this is what they do. They want to cause as much damage as possible. What do I think the headlines are going to say about this? What do I think the British media are going to say about this? Well, they're going to have a field day, aren't they? And that's it. This is my conclusion of it all, guys. There's a lot to take in. You can watch it tomorrow at 9 p.m. And yeah, see for yourself what you really think. It's going to be a busy few days, I think. Anyway, guys, I'll be back for another video. Bye.